Hey everyone, hope you guys are doing well wherever you guys are in the world. Apologies for being a little bit late. I had to just finish and finalize with work this week, which was a bit of a nightmare. So here we are on the stream finally. Um, Hope you guys in general have had a good week and enjoyed some of the football, some of the European football at least, which hasn't really had too many complications in terms of FPL outside of, let's say, Jesus, his injury, and we got some follow-on impacts in terms of seeing how Brighton played without March. Nothing too out of the expectations. We did say Buonanotte could obviously find his way to the team, but interesting as well that he wasn't subbed on for Adingra. So when we're talking about, let's say, one of the best picks going forwards, Adingra looking very, very good for the time being. This is my team, at least how I plan to line out with it, and we'll see what happens, of course. So many of you guys in the chat already, so thank you guys. Appreciate it so much for tuning in early. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll try to answer the chat questions as soon as possible. I'm just gonna have to quickly post a little tweet about the live stream before we just get started. Has anyone taken any hits so far? I'm kind of curious because it seems like a lot of people rolled last week, so I'd be surprised if that many people took hits, but keen again, once again, to find out if people generally did ultimately take a hit or two. Game week live stream for the Game Week 9 deadline. Sorry guys, just quickly composing that tweet, and then we'll get back to chat questions as soon as possible. Alrighty, so that's done. Let's go back to questions in chat. So, hi Dave, hi RP. Someone says he's got a captain Salah, very, very sensible. I'm going to captain Salah as well. I think it's between Salah, Saka, and Watkins for me. I don't see Haaland even being within my mind as a pick. I think it's quite contentious if you're actually going Haaland in the first place. It's just look, it's United. Obviously, United. We can all laugh at United because they're pretty horrific. But I mean, come on, this is such a good fixture for all three of these other players. I'd probably love to go Saka captaincy. That would be nice, but I think Salah's probably still the way to go. I'd say, and so here we are. We have a new member as well, an old member as well. So, Phil with an F. Hope you're doing well. Someone who's actually been very, very consistent with the chat and the stream over the years, even interacting with me with Twitter. So thank you so much for joining as a president. Welcome to the club. He's got his green arrow now. Ben Taylor says he's going to move Guehi to Simicast or burn a transfer. I would probably move. I think moving Guehi to Simicast is an interesting one. I think the question I suppose is, was Guehi going to cover any additional fixtures that Simicast can't? And if the answer is no, then probably go towards Simicast. I do think burning a transfer is probably not advisable. I do like Simicast in general. I think Simicast is great this week as well. So, for example, if Simicast can actually improve your team this week, then why not make that move? Raz says Haaland and Salah on the same captain. I actually obviously seem to have come to a conclusion that I'm not going to touch Haaland. He's not even my vice captain as it stands. Says Liverpool's not going to score more than 2 in the game. Thing is, Liverpool can score 2 in the game, and those 2 goals can still be Salah, so it doesn't really matter, like both ways, if that makes sense. Deepak says he's got 2 free transfers, Botman, Burns, Schär in the squad, and Bruno is one of the premium midfielders. Should I hold Bruno against City? I think if you can go Bruno to Saka, I would absolutely make that transfer. I know it's a little bit regrettable since Saka might not be 100% of the penalty share within Arsenal, but you can't really pass up Sheffield United at home, and that's all I have to say, really. Captain Darwin on the cards. I'd like to see that black screen. You're always coming with a differential, so I appreciate that. Alrighty, so other questions in the chat. I'd actually like to do a poll, sorry, just before we even get started with further chat questions, just to see like how many people are captaining Salah, Saka, Watkins. Salah, Saka. I'll put this in the order of my preference, so no bias here intended. All right, let's see. Gameweek 10 captaincy poll is on. All right, I'm going to try and go through chat a little bit faster because I'm going extremely slow, and I appreciate that there's a lot of you guys in chat, which is something that I absolutely love. If you guys could drop a like, drop a subscribe, that would be wonderful. That would make my day. CN says, would it be better to transfer in Simicast instead of Gabriel? The thing is, I do think it's better for my team to go Simicast if I wasn't supposed to make transfers after this. But the way I see it, right, all the players in my team I'd probably keep after game week 10. So my game week 11 transfer is probably actually going to be a defender transfer, which I have no problems with. So I actually don't mind transferring Simicast for game week 11. And after that, I can stop making defender transfers. I think my team will be very, very good at that point in time. So happy to do it like so. Do you think he comes in with a decision on who he's captaining? Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. Was the Gabriel over White a money issue? I of course I mean it's of course a money issue, 100%. There's a 0.9 difference between those two players, so of course genuinely a money issue. Would I spend money on going for White anyways? Probably not, because the way I see it is I'd rather have an Arsenal defender, yes, but do I want to spend that much on Arsenal defender? Not really, because it's not like White is like a prolific attacking fullback. So the value of an Arsenal defender is mostly how good they are as a defense, as a whole. So getting access to that is something that I really want. Would it be better to transfer in Simicast instead of Gabriel? Yep, sorry, I've answered that question already. Chris says he's going for Watkins this week. I mean, Aston Villa attack versus Luton Town at home. I mean, it doesn't get better than that other than Sheffield United at home, which is what Arsenal have. Zanan says he's going to go Gordon, Dingra. Oh, sorry, he's asking Gordon, Dingra, Palmer, or Pedro. Honestly, I'd probably go Gordon or Dingra and probably call it a day there. Ben C, hope you're doing well. Matthew says, would you take a hit for Jensen or Douglas Luiz? I'd probably go Jensen to Douglas Luiz. Ooh, for a hit. I would just probably start Neto, honestly. However, I mean, a hit for Douglas Luiz doesn't feel good. I don't really like to take hits for players who are that cheap, but I can understand the logic. Archit, hope you're doing well. Simicast versus Gabriel. I've gone Gabriel if that helps you make your decision. But I do think you need further transfers, and Simicast is very, very useful. Like, as I said, I plan to make Simicast a transfer for 11. Levy Cohen says, start Mitoma or Alvarez. Probably Mitoma for me. Mbumo to Mitoma for -4. I probably wouldn't do that if I'm honest. I'd probably revisit Mitoma in game week 12. Is Udogi out for today? We can't confirm, but it seems like he could be benched. But probably will get a leak over the next hour and 20 minutes. Is Salah essential? I wouldn't say so, but I think he's very tempting to go for, right? Because when we think about the captaincies in the future, I'd probably captain Salah in game week 12. I'd probably captain Salah in game week 10. I'd probably captain Salah in game week 14. I'd probably captain Salah in game week 15. So you can kind of get a good understanding that Salah feels like a great captaincy option for many, many weeks ahead. And for Haaland, for example, it only seems like he's going to be a captaincy for Bournemouth and Liverpool, so 11 and 13. Now, on 13, interestingly enough, Son is a very good captain as well. I think Aston Villa at home is probably one of the better fixtures, just because unfortunately everyone else has a slightly poor fixture. Brentford away is quite tough for Arsenal. For Salah, of course, he's got Man City away, potentially the worst fixture as well on his calendar. So you can kind of get a sense that Haaland by default feels like the best captaincy on this week. But really, he doesn't have great captaincies until around 16, 17, right? And of course, you have to sort of take into account the blank. All right, so back on track with the questions. Robert says, should I take a hit to replace Udogi with either Simicast or whatever? I wouldn't take a hit for that. Unless you... Oh, your only solution is to play with Kabore. Fine, I might actually take a hit on that. But let's wait and see if we can get some Udogi news and leaks. Is he a TFLPL? What? I don't even know what that means, mate. TTFPL? Total Tactics FPL. I didn't even clock that. Sorry about that. Bowen plus Palmer or Diaby and Mitoma. Honestly, I prefer Diaby and Mitoma. I just feel like it's a lot safer in the sense that Palmer isn't someone that you can really play for the next few weeks. Alvarez, Matoma, Palmer versus Bowen, Matoma, Archer. I'd probably go Alvarez, Matoma, Palmer actually in that situation, because you're comparing Palmer to Archer, which is obviously, I think, much more sensible. Should I get Trippier for a -4? I don't think it's worth a -4, honestly. Missed the price rise on Saka because I couldn't decide if I wanted to trade Diaby or Madison for not. It is what it is. I have to be honest. I made the transfer last week, and I'll tell you why I made that transfer. I made that transfer because I'm 0.6 away from going Lamptey to Tsimikas for one free transfer, and I wanted that flexibility. You know, when you want that flexibility, when the flexibility is there, take that chance, in my opinion, especially after the European games were over. That guy, hope you're doing well. Thank you for tagging me. The man, the myth, the legend, he says. BL, he says, hi, Fran. Madison and Neto or Saka and Adingra. Look, I think I would rather Saka and Adingra. That's my personal opinion. I think I actually prefer Adingra maybe to Neto. Maybe that's going to be a hot take, but I think Adingra, extreme value, extremely good fixtures as well. Neto even has Newcastle as well. All right, going towards the member questions in the chat as well, prioritizing them. Ben says, would you sell Guehi to Tsimikas? Yeah, I definitely would, Ben. Definitely would do that. BL says, matters and Neto versus Saka and Adingra. Look, I've answered the question, I think, already. So you know sort of what my opinion is on that. I would go with Saka and Adingra there. I'm going to end the poll there. It seems like either Salah or Watkins captain, and that's fair enough. These are the sort of informed players. But not only are they informed, they're also... Oh, thank you so much for the donation as well, Ellie. You're on a wild card and you're having trouble deciding on two players. You've got Adingra and Nketiah or Gordon and Archer. So I would actually prefer... It's a tough one here because I'm not super fond of Nketiah because it seems like Jesus is still pretty close to coming back into the side. But at the same time, if I think about it, how do you get out of Nketiah if suddenly he loses his position on the team? I suppose what you would still have at the end of the day is you have the option to go João Pedro. I actually don't really mind going Adingra, but the issue, I suppose, is, of course, I think Adingra is being compared to Archer, which, I mean, definitely I would probably take the punt on Adingra and Nketiah in that situation. If you can go Nketiah and Adingra and you're going to play them this week, I think it's worth it. If you're going to bench one of them, then maybe actually Gordon and Archer feels a bit safer. It's really up to you and what you're planning to play this week. Are you confident enough to play those two players, even though they're very high budget players? I'm just going to quickly check price rises and falls. So it seems like Mbumo's set to fall. Foden, Højlund, Almiron, Botman, Andreas. Nothing too interesting there. Akanji maybe one of the ones who's interesting. On the other hand, we've got Watkins, Douglas Luiz, Gabriel Van de Ven, or Areola, Cash, Son, White to rise. Burn as well, potentially. Some of these might be wildcard induced, so probably unlikely to rise. Tsimikas is so close to a rise again. I'm not feeling very good about not owning Tsimikas, but it's so far away from the next Tsimikas game. I think I might have to lose out on Tsimikas. It is what it is. We tried our best. Jay Wavy says he's thinking about last minute Burn to Tsimikas and Richie to Nelly. I think if you can upgrade Richarlison, that's huge. I actually have heard rumors that Richarlison might be benched. I can't confirm this, obviously, but I have heard rumors that Richarlison might be benched. We'll see if that gets confirmed by a more authoritative source a little bit later in the day, though. I think it would be helpful to kind of find out if that is the case. Just going to quickly read also the press conference highlights as well for you guys. And I apologize, actually. The sun is blowing. It's not blowing. It's directed at my face. So I've got too much sunlight in the room. Had to adjust that. Apologies. Hojack says, Luton away, expected goals conceded ranks at 5th compared to Forest who rank at 12th. Almost every manager has to-go players in their team in the same captaincy picks. This season's all about having an edge. Watkins captain. Fair enough. I appreciate that. Although I would also say that, Salah still has slightly better overall edge because of being a penalty taker as well. And I think you also have to factor in maybe attacking quality probably still favored towards Liverpool if we wanted to play it that way, I suppose. But I hear what you're saying in terms of the gulf between the two teams. It might be larger, right, between, let's say, Villa and Luton Town. But yeah, as you know, I'm someone who cares about penalties a lot, so that's something to factor into as well. But interesting take there. Son to Saka for -4. I honestly, guys, like let's say Madison or Sun out, I don't think I would do it. Nimesh Patel, thank you so much, and welcome to member. Welcome to being a manager as well, and to the club. So thank you so much for joining us. Keith says, "Hey Fran, what are your thoughts on Maguire slash Guehi and also Archer Osula?" I mean, come on here. We're grasping at straws, aren't we? I think I'd prefer Guehi if I'm honest, right? Because worst case scenario, you can always move around that 4.5 price point. If you're sort of locked into a 4.2, it's very tough. I think Udogi is an issue as far as I understand, right? Seems like he's actually struggling. So, yep. Hopefully we can get some Spurs leaks from some authoritative sources though, as I say. I can quickly check for leaks as well, just to see if we've got anything in the... Apparently, Johnson might start over Richarlison. I'm not sure about that, guys. Honestly, I don't really know. I've gone out of Richarlison myself, not based on this news, but just simply because I don't want to own Richarlison anymore, and I've got the chance to go Saka, so I did so. And here we are. Douglas Luiz or Neto? Probably Douglas Luiz, honestly. Hi, Fran. Bench 1. Cash, Trippier, Gabriel, Porro. I'd probably bench Porro, my friend. Start Shara, Porro. I'd probably start Porro. Udogi benched. I think it's pretty likely because the turnaround, if you guys think about it, it was the worst, right? Monday to Friday is such a huge turnaround. Why are people captaining? I mean, let's not disrespect Salah here. it's Salah at the end of the day. I don't want to. I think we can admit that Sheffield United and Luton are much worse, right? Much worse than Nottingham Forest. But does that really matter? Because you can argue that Liverpool's attack is still much better than Arsenal's and Villa as well. And not to mention that independently, when we're talking independent assets, right? Salah might be clear of both Saka and Watkins. So it's very close for me. I don't think Saka and Watkins are clear above Salah at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't be captaining Salah. And here we are. Your rank 1,544. I don't think anyone will be higher in this chat. Maybe there will be. But that is astoundingly high, so congratulations so far on your season. Start Porro or Burn? I'd start Porro. Haven't owned Saka all season yet. Phil with an F says, went Watkins over Saka this week. Guess we'll see what happens. Look, honestly, I think those three are the captaincy options, right? I'm not even tempted with Haaland, so yeah, it is what it is. Good midfielder under 5 million. I don't think there's a good midfielder under 5 million. All the good midfielders are actually at least 5.0 million right now. Talk about Udogi. I don't have any sources. I don't have any news. I don't want to spread fake news. So I'm sorry, I don't have news on Udogi. My assumption would be that his minutes might be managed. That's my guess, but I really can't tell. So that is what it is. Brennan Johnson comes in for Richarlison. The leak is out, apparently. That is the leak. Why are you captaining Salah? I would like to understand the thought process. He scored twice. I mean, your thought process should never be, oh, this player's on form, he can't continue to stay on form, or this player's off form, he can't continue to stay off form, right? It's just the fixture. And the fact that he's a penalty taker, which I can't guarantee that Saka's a penalty taker right now, so there's that. And then also, ultimately, it's a good fixture. It's still Nottingham Forest at home for Liverpool. And Liverpool still is a better attack than Aston Villa, and still is a better attack than Arsenal. It's very close. And from an asset point of view, I mean, look at Salah's underlying stats. It makes sort of Saka's pale in comparison, and it also makes even Watkins pale in comparison as well. That's how insane Salah is. Colwell starting. He should start. Good backup midfielder under 5 million. Honestly, look, you should save as much money as possible at 4.3. I don't think there's a single point to go with any. There's no backup midfielders effectively. It just doesn't matter. Just go for Chukwuemeka at that point. You don't get 4.5 and don't want to sell him. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand the point. But I would still probably I would probably sell Udogi now. You know, I own Trippier at 6.6 until he rose. I don't know, an entire mountain. Start Colwell, Udogi? I'd start Colwell in a heartbeat. No Holland drop. Do I play Darwin or Alvarez? I prefer Alvarez, honestly. I think it's just safer. Would you start Alvarez or Holland or both? I'd probably start both. It depends on who else you can go for. Um, start Palmer or Porro. I'd probably start Palmer. Going without Son on wild card. I think it makes sense to go without Son on wild card, but you also don't have to. Um, would you sell Fernandes or Foden? Honestly, I'd probably sell Foden because Foden has the worst fixture. He's also not like he's not someone that I really want to be keeping around Foden, if I'm honest. Whereas with Fernandes, I feel like if you can survive this week, it's quite nice to own Fernandes going forwards. Whereas if you survive this week with Foden, it's like he's still kind of underperforming. His underlying stats are very poor. He's not a penalty taker. Why would you want to keep Foden really for the long term? Um, what's the verdict on captaincy between Watkins or Saka? I mean, I'd go Saka. Udogi to Gabriel, Simicast or Neto, Adingra Palmer. I mean, I don't know if you need to necessarily go Neto out. I think Udogi to Gabriel is probably the nicest move. It's the safest move, I would say, as well. Neto to Adingra is probably something I would like if you want to. Like, the way I would call it down the line between Adingra and Palmer is I would say with Adingra, you've got a player who can probably play the next few games and you can actually be happy to start. But in terms of, let's say, someone like Palmer, Palmer, you would really see him as an opportunity to sort of keep him for the long term. But keep in mind that Nkunku's coming back soon. I don't know if he'll keep penalties. It probably will be the case that he does because he scored 2 in a row now. And the issue, I suppose, is whether he keeps his spot in the team and whether he stays that long. So I think Palmer is affected by Nkunku being around the corner. So I think that's one of the things to sort of consider. Madison to Martinelli has Son and no. I think Madison to Martinelli is okay. It's not a move that I love, to be honest, and I definitely wouldn't take it for a hit, but that is nice. You can't afford Madison to Saka, but can do Madison to Mitoma. You've got one free transfer, Salah, Son, Bowen, Diaby. Yeah, I think that's actually a nice move. What do you think of Wilson? I think Wilson's obviously got a lot of upside, but keep in mind that he sort of has chronically poor fitness, so that's going to be an issue for him, just generally speaking. Best 11 free hit. I mean, let's look at 11 next week. Madison, Udogi, Saka, and Simicas. Oof. Yeah, I mean, I like those moves. Thoughts on Lyle Foster? I mean, it's not crazy to have him, but do I particularly rate him super highly? Like, not really. Thoughts on Ferguson? I'd rather go João Pedro, honestly. Would you bench Bowen, Simicas, or Trippier? I'd probably bench Simicas. Any news on Sufal? No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't rate Sufal too much. Do you still believe in Diaby? Yeah, I do, of course. I'm going to have to keep him for the short term. Who's your captain? Salah's my captain, so let's actually quickly hover on to my default page. Why no Spurs? My first wildcard video. I mean, the way I see it is it's tough to kind of keep Spurs. I think also the other thing I would say is whether you want to keep Son or Trippier. So depending on whether you want to keep Son or Trippier, you have to keep one or the other. I don't necessarily dislike Spurs, but I think from a defensive point of view, the fixtures are getting worse. As far as Madison, yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I don't think Diaby overpriced. He's just underperformed, if that makes sense. And for example, someone like Douglas Luiz has highly overperformed. You're on a Fran red card ban. None of my questions. When was the last time you asked a question? Oh, you said, would you start Burn or Colwell? I'd definitely start Colwell, my friend. You're not on a ban at all. There's a lot of chat today, so a lot of questions. Quite hard to follow. Nunez or Wilson or Ferguson pick. I mean, probably Wilson, I would say. Wilson or Nunez. I don't think I'd pick Ferguson. I'd rather go João Pedro. Fran, how are you doing, Diamond? No Haaland free hit? On Game Week 10, yeah, you probably might not have Haaland on your free hit. You probably would go triple Liverpool, triple Aston Villa, triple Arsenal. And that's it, right? Picks around those territories. Protagonists. I mean, sorry guys, questions are flowing fast. Yeah. Yesterday, basically, he did mention in a press conference that he will assess Udogi, but we'll see what happens there. Son to Saka -4. I don't love it, honestly. I don't really like the Spurs players to Saka for a -4, if I'm honest. Really hope Darwin starts this game week. Yeah, I mean, I think Darwin. I mean, look, Darwin's going to come off the bench no matter what, right? Um, Mitoma or Martinelli, I'd probably go. I'd probably go Mitoma, honestly. I feel like it's safer from the minutes point of view. Protagonist says he's got 0 free transfers to get Salah. He needs to get Matt out. I mean, is that going to be a -8? 12 to 16 point hit. I mean, please don't take a 12 to 16 point hit. Just captain someone like Saka if you have him, or Watkins rather. Why would you bench Tsimikas instead of Trippier? Why would you bench Trippier versus Wolves away? Is probably my question to you. I mean, Tsimikas, for example, is like someone who isn't even nailed to, let's say, play 90 minutes within a single game of football. So that's my concern. And then Liverpool's defense, obviously highly different quality, attacking quality different between Tsimikas and Trippier themselves. So yeah, I think I'd easily pick because I don't have the confidence that Tsimikas is going to play the full 90 minutes. I'd probably just go Trippier. What's your transfer plan for the next game week? Probably Tsimikas actually as a transfer. Just because my defense is awful next week and Liverpool still have a good fixture next week versus Luton Town away, so why not take that opportunity there? Kanan says Mbumo to Douglas Luiz to accommodate for Maddison to Saka this week. I mean, if that's 2 free transfers, I don't mind that too much. But if you're telling me that move is involving a hit, I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably Saka captain over Watkins. Salah, Son, Maddison, Gordon, Palmer. That's a pretty good midfield. Would you transfer in Saka plus Gabriel from Maddison plus Trip? Yeah, that's literally what I did. Those are literally my transfers. Would you rather have Bowen or Alvarez as an asset? I'd probably actually rather have Alvarez, honestly. Burn, Porro, Tsimikas, Gabriel, Cash. Who would you sub? Probably Burn. Probably Burn in that situation. A-Man says he's currently 600k. What do you think of -8 points hit? It's not bad because actually a lot of the players you're going out from aren't particularly great in terms of Edouard Richarlison. So the idea that you can actually upgrade 2 other players, I don't mind it too much actually. Would you bench Udogi? Yeah, I'd probably do it. Best midfielder going forward outside of Salah, Son, Diaby, Maddison. Saka looks sus with injury and all. Yeah, I mean, I still think it's Saka. I mean, he's been carrying an injury for 2 years, and that hasn't stopped Saka from being one of the greatest FPL assets, over the last sort of 1.5 year period from FPL. Udogi not going to play. I think it's rather unlikely that he will. Fernandes to Martinelli for -4. I wouldn't do that for -4 at all. I'd probably keep Fernandes, actually. Would you transfer Mitoma, Trippier for Bruno and Botman free, 2 free transfer? I probably wouldn't, honestly. I don't really see the need to, let's say, push into Trippier this week. Do you do team reviews during the week? Not really, but I'll think about it. It's just that I don't really have that much free time right now. Quite busy with work. Is it worth bench boost with Areola, Alvarez, Tsimikas, Taylor? Sadly not. I would say, unfortunately. I mean, honestly, 3 out of 4 it's not a bad bench boost, not a bad one. Make the case for Gordon. I mean, there's no case for Gordon. I owned him 2 weeks ago, and he scored last week. That's my case. Appreciate your answer. What was your question, DJ Nature? Lascelles versus Taylor? I'd probably go Taylor. Just because I don't know how long Lascelles is going to keep that position, and it might block you from triple Newcastle in the future. Was Hazard a good FPL option? I didn't play FPL either, so can't answer that one. Chant to Douglas Luiz for a 1 week punt. Not a bad one if you're super happy with the rest of your team. Prince Izzy, I think, should you do Saka -4? I don't really like it. I don't like either of those moves for a -4. Liverpool clean sheet, that's a good bench boost. Yeah, I think so. It's a good bench boost because you've got Alvarez, who's obviously a lovely player. Do you rate Darwin Nunez? Yeah, I think I do. But I don't even know if necessarily he'll start. Yassine, hope you're doing well. James Ward-Prowse to Gordon or Udogi to Tsimikas. I think Udogi to Tsimikas is probably better. Thank you so much, FPL Diamond. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys could like and subscribe, as Diamond says, that would be highly, highly appreciated. And thank you guys, of course, for the support on the stream so far. Gordon was 0 left in the bank or Adingra. I think I would just go Adingra. Play Palmer or He-Chan. I'd probably play Palmer. Why would you want to play He-Chan versus Newcastle? Why would you sell Solanke for... Who would you sell? Can you go Alvarez? Can you just go Alvarez? Is that possible? Smash that like button. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Madison or Son? You mean out for Saka? I'd probably go out of Madison first. Is Watkins worth a -4 point? I mean, if you're going to captain him, maybe. But I don't think so. Like, if you're doing Alvarez to Watkins for a -4, I wouldn't do it. If you're doing Alvarez to Watkins just like that, I mean, fair enough. That's okay. Bring in Tsimikas, Gabriel, or Pedro Porro. Money, no object. Probably Gabriel. I don't see the need to bring in Pedro Porro. I think it's... I'm actually looking to get out of Pedro Porro quite soon. Don't spam. He reads questions in order. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to have to put you in a timeout. Sorry. I'll answer your question first before I put you in timeout. You said you got Udogi to Tsimikas. I'd probably go Tsimikas, my friend. And then I'm going to put you in timeout. Sorry. Pau Torres and Matoma or Cash and Gordon. I quite like Pau Torres and Matoma, to be honest. I much prefer Matoma to Gordon, and I actually own Gordon, and I'm saying that too. I did Tsimikas and Matoma in for Bruno and Botman. Those are nice moves. So you're saving some money in the bank in the future. That would be quite nice. Who do I bench? Ivan Jovic says Matoma, Fulham, Gordon Wolves. Just bench Gordon, I would say. Bench Gordon. So Salah's the best captain. For me, he is, but I'm not saying he's going to get the most points. I can never guarantee that. Who am I looking at for the next 4 weeks? Definitely Tsimikas. Probably Mbumo on Gameweek 14. And then before that, what would I do? Maybe some transfers like Newcastle defender, like Burn or something like that, something silly. What would be your updated wildcard team? Honestly, I don't think my wildcard team has changed. Maybe you can actually drop Trippier on the draft and go Son instead. Is probably something I would think about. I mean, if I was wildcarding, I'd probably just go... I mean, I might consider Matoma instead of Diaby. One thing I would do. I'd probably drop Gordon. Well, actually, I might go Diaby and Adingra. Just to be a little bit spicy. Because Adingra sort of, I see him as bench. And then I go Alvarez. Drop this guy to Simi. This guy could be Taylor, maybe. All right, I can't do this, can I? Someone has to go. Ooh, can't afford Diaby. But I think Diaby has to be Gordon, actually, sadly. Does that feel right, though? Doesn't feel right to me. I think Son has to go as well. Am I crazy? I think Son has to go. Would I go for another Arsenal player? Maybe Martinelli? Not sure. Something like this I could work with. And then Adingra is like sort of that bench option who kind of rotates. It's a tough one. Maybe I go Dallo here. Play him on Fulham, play him versus Luton, play him versus Everton, play him versus Bournemouth. Yeah, I might go Dallo here. Something like that. I don't think my mind has changed too much. But you can always play around with one or two picks. I just really like the 3-4-3. I think Alvarez is just ridiculous. Such a ridiculous pick. Like I would still prefer Alvarez to Darwin and even Wilson, unfortunately. Yeah, something like that. All right, back to chat questions. Any Spurs news? I think Richarlison might be benched, but I can't confirm it's from. I mean, I can't confirm that the source is super legit. Son to Saka now or in Game Week 12? I mean, if you can do it for one free transfer, I'd probably do it, but it doesn't feel great, does it? So you'd prefer Martinelli to Trippier over the next few? Yeah, I think I generally would, just because this opportunity to play for Sheffield United at home is just beautiful. Is keeping Diaby a good choice? I think so, because you can. The way I see it is Diaby is a placeholder for Mbumo, so why not just punt on Diaby for a few weeks? You're in this exact dilemma with a wild card, Trips or Son. Yeah, I'd probably go with Son at this point. I've sort of changed my mind. That's why I've gone out of Trippier myself. Source says Udogie starts. Which source? I mean, I don't have a source. I haven't confirmed that Udogie starts or doesn't start. Basuma apparently is back in the team. Brennan Johnson's probably coming in. I haven't seen anything on Udogie yet, unfortunately. So, sorry. Yeah, can't confirm on that. Play Palmer or Gordon? I'd definitely play Palmer. Palmer or Dingra? I'd probably go with Dingra. How confident are you with Salah captain? Probably 55% and then 45% Saka. El Clasico on Saturday. Ala Madrid? Definitely. Palmer or Dingra? Answer that question already, my friend. João Pedro, too risky. I think João Pedro's a great punt on the wild card, actually. Ooh, putting some thoughts in my mind. Maybe you go Pedro. Yeah, maybe you go Pedro. If you go Pedro, keep Diaby. Do we have enough money? Dallo here? Cheeky little Dallo. Cheeky Simicas. This is a great back line. This is a great midfield. But this is way too strong though, right? We don't need Gordon, do we? No, we don't. I think we go... maybe you go Palmer in this situation because you've got 8 attackers. But I love Adingra so much. Tough one. And then can we upgrade Diaby is the question. I don't think we can. Do we go Maguire? What does he give us? Ooh, we got Martinelli money here. I mean, this is quite nice. This is a monster draft. Wow. This is a great draft. Or am I crazy? Maybe go Guehi instead? Is this a bad draft? This is a pretty strong draft, no? This is a pretty strong draft in my opinion. So you kind of rotate João Pedro and Palmer, if you guys get what I'm saying. That could be interesting. I think that's interesting. All right, Gabriel or Shar? Definitely Gabriel. Play Taylor versus Bournemouth and Neto versus Newcastle. Is Taylor at home? I think he's not. I'd play Neto versus Newcastle. Why Salah over Saka? Not form, just penalties. You've no Arsenal coverage or no Watkins. You tried to gamble and you do for a Gordon hit. So, okay, you're taking Haaland out for a hit, leaving enough to buy Alvarez next week. I think that's okay if you want to do that. I mean, I don't believe in the concept of coverage, but the question, of course, is are you happy to go without Haaland? And if you are, then, you know, fair enough, go for it. You made that exact draft yesterday. Palmer and João Pedro are kind of sneaky nice, aren't they? Like, as a pair. Palmer and João Pedro is the one. Did you beat Saka price rise? Indeed, I did. Very sneaky of me to do last minute transfers last night, but I did do it. Go Porro to Dallo next week. I'm not going to go Porro to Dallo next week because actually, if you think about it, next week I can't play Gabriel. I can only play Cash. I can't really play Colwill because he's got a terrible game. He's got Spurs away, awful. So I kind of have to play Porro, and I think I can go Lamptey to Simicast next week is probably what my plan is, right? Or Lamptey to Maguire maybe, and that way I can play Maguire. That way I can play Porro. At least he's at home compared to Colwill, and then I can play Cash, and then I can bench Gabriel. I can bench Colwill, and then Colwill will come back to my team around game week 14 or even 16. Yeah, so the whole point is just keeping Colwill forever, not wasting a transfer on that position, and then just managing my team as such. Yeah, and who knows if Lamptey can ever get back onto the pitch and play some football for me, I wouldn't mind that at one bit. So yeah, if he could do me a favor and get back on the field, that would be nice. Might actually save a transfer for me in the future, but we'll see what happens. That will be a tough thing. Let me just quickly talk about the press conference roundup. So this is I'm actually reading off of FPL Olympians on Twitter. Great friend of mine. So he's basically said Isaac's injury isn't serious enough, but could keep him out for a few weeks. Anderson is out for 2 months. Murphy will require surgery. So that's massive. That's huge for Gordon's minutes. In fact, that makes Gordon a fantastic pick. Jesus and Party will be out for a few weeks. That's a problem, but keep in mind that there is an international break. Welbeck and March are out long term. Estupiñán and Lamptey are close. Fantastic news, because actually these could be future left back and right backs, right? Even if, let's say, Estupiñán is probably going to be the first choice left back. James will be on the bench, and Kunku could be back after international break. So basically, game week 14. Foden couldn't play due to a little problem, whereas Alvarez couldn't play the full 90. So obviously, there's some fitness news with Foden and Alvarez, but I think they'll play. Gakpo's available, so that's huge for Darwin. A bit of a dampener. If I wouldn't really go for Darwin on the wild card. And then Aaron, mate, why am I struggling here? Aaron Wan-Bissaka is back in training, and Casemiro's a doubt. So obviously good news in terms of the fullback depth for United. Probably a problem for Reguilon. I wouldn't go for Reguilon at all, but that probably still actually keeps Dalot in a safe position, because I think Dalot can still play left back. If you guys remember, he does sometimes play inverted left back. Soufal's still a doubt. Apparently, Neto out until at least game week 13. That's the keeper Neto, not the player Neto in terms of the attacker of Wolves. McBurney is a doubt. Hickey's back from suspension, and Moreno and Ramsey suffered setbacks. So that actually makes Luca Dean very interesting on the wild card. So for example, if you can't afford cash, maybe a few weeks of a punt into Luca Dean could actually serve you well, right? So why not have a look into that? And that's all I have in terms of press conference updates from a great friend of ours. If you can't get to Saka, which Arsenal asset would you get in midfielder? Obviously Martinelli at that position. Richarlison bench. Yep, I sold Richarlison. Guys in chat, would you do Bowen to Gordon to afford Saka for Madison? I would do it, but I think a lot of people really, really rate Bowen. Is Udogie out for real? I don't think so. I think he said that he'll be assessed, right? Being assessed is something that you have to deal with. It just means that we don't know until a source tells us otherwise, which is the sad thing. Richarlison bench, I've read that already. Surely Moreno is back in after Luton. I honestly can't confirm. I mean, I don't know what exactly is going on with Moreno. If he suffered a setback, it actually probably means he's much, 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 much further away. Udogie seen coming out of the bus. Aren't they playing out? Oh, they're playing away, of course. Can't afford Simicast. Best alternative. I mean, honestly, the only alternative you seem to have is Maguire. So that's the issue. You're planning on bringing in Gabriel this week and Simicast next week. I think that those are good moves. Would you transfer out Burn first or Udogie? Sorry. Got Trippier already. Yeah, I'd probably transfer out Udogie, my friend. I'm thinking of doing Trent and Gordon for Fernandes and Saliba. Those are quite spicy moves. I quite like them. Yeah, Ben Dinnery is good for that, but he doesn't really do a press conference roundup, right? So, and I think he's got stuff wrong before. I mean, I'm not saying Ben isn't reliable. I'm just saying that it's not like I follow Ben avidly. Bench Bumo or I'd bench Bumo. Am I locked in? Yes, I'm locked in. Play Solanke Alvarez, definitely Solanke. Would having only cash Gabriel Simicast with 2-3 point, that's not okay. That's not okay. Because think about it. Next week when you play Newcastle, as an Arsenal player, like you don't really want to own Gabriel. So I would need at least 4 defenders from you. Should I do Bowen for Gordon to afford Saka to Madison? Bowen for Gordon to afford Saka to Madison. It's a tough one. I do like it. I do like it at the end of the day. If you trust Gordon, then you trust that he's a nailed Newcastle player, then he's huge. Um, I think my team looks monstrous this week. I might not have the captaincy correct, but I think my team looks pretty nice, if I can say so myself. Douglas Luiz or Palmer or Dingra? Look. I think Douglas Luiz is the safest pick. But I actually would prefer a Dingra, and then I'd probably prefer Palmer. It just really depends. Because if you're going on a wild card, then I think Palmer is quite nice, right? Because Palmer is what I would consider, what I would call an eighth attacker, or someone who at least needs to rotate with a fourth defender. Yeah, and that's what I would say. Shard to Gabriel or cash for long-term upgrade? I would go Gabriel, right? Because Gabriel's got a great fixture as well, and it's tough to own cash now if you don't own cash at the sort of extortionate price you used to be at. So that's all I'm saying. Yep. Leanne, yeah, I've heard the same thing exactly. I think you're on the money there with that news. I've gone out of Richarlison myself, so that's all I can confirm. Sorry, so this is my rolling team. 2 free transfers used, no hits taken, and we're trying to go for another green arrow once again. Let's see what happens. Diraj says, love the content. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. You've got 5 elite midfielders, 3 elite forwards. Need to choose 7 out of 8. Drop one of them. I drop Bowen within a heartbeat. Kotaro says, what do I suggest? 3 Villa, 2 defender. Dean / Udogi to Simicast and Mbumo to Douglas. I'm not quite understanding the question. I think I would keep Dean if anything. Mbumo to Mitoma sounds quite nice though, if that's what you're asking. Do I kick ball? Yeah, I do. I mean, I usually just play 5-a-side on weekends, but unfortunately, I used to play 5-a-sides when the deadline was always on Saturday mornings, and I've not played football in a while, unfortunately, because of my commitments to FPL deadlines. Would you start Darwin or Alvarez? I would start Darwin. Reluctantly, though, because the Alvarez news, it's kind of concerning, I suppose, in terms of his full minutes. Is Ward-Prowse to Mitoma with a hit worth it? No, it's not worth a hit, my friend. Play Madison or Alvarez. I'd probably play Madison. Gabriel or White. I'd probably go Gabriel. Just save yourself some money. Dunk Gabriel or Simicast. I'd probably go Gabriel. On wildcard, Douglas Luiz or Palmer or Dingra. As I said, I'd probably go Dingra. Because I think the way I see it is Dingra seems nice, and then you can actually assess whether Palmer sort of stays in the team and then just move into Palmer later on. And yeah, I mean, Douglas Luiz, it's like, okay, you've got penalties, you've got set pieces, but nah. Fake football, real 5-a-side. Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? Thanks, Fran. Keep up the content. Thank you, Keymaker, for being in the stream. Deepak says, should I start Simicast, bench, Shar, or Burn? I'd start Simicast and then bench Burn. Anderson to Dingra for -4. Just play Colwell, my friend. Come on, Colwell's got a good fixture. Like, I was really struggling. All right, I'm going to ask another poll for you guys in the chat. Who would you bench for me? Do you guys think I've got the bench order correct? Because I actually wanted to bench either one of Gordon, Porro, or Colwell. But the thing is, because Murphy's injured, like, I don't have a justification really to bench. So in my team, who would you bench? Porro, Gordon, Colwell? I think Colwell's got a great fixture. It's Brentford at home. The clean sheet percentage chance is like 40%. So I think it makes sense to bench Colwell. That's what I've done. Yeah, okay. Seems like most of you guys agree. Thanks for confirming my own bias there. A classical predictions. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to see us win. I don't want to predict us to win and then not see us win. So I just want us to win. That's all I'm going to say. No predictions, just my hopes and ambitions. Trippier to Gabriel and Mbumo to Saka. Yeah, those are great moves. Really nice moves, actually. Gordon, Almiron. Definitely Gordon. I don't think Almiron's even an option for me, unfortunately. I just think if you can get Gordon at a cheaper price, like, why wouldn't you just go Gordon over Almiron? It's not like Almiron's on penalties. It's not like he's on free kicks. How about Udogi to Simicast? I think that's a good move. Mitoma better than Bowen. Why? Just because you get money saved. Captain Saka or Watkins? I'd captain Saka over Watkins. United. I don't even know where that's coming from DJ nature, but fair enough. Son or Salah, can't fit both. Salah for sure. You're good at captain. A lot thoughts on Bellingham. I think he could win the Ballon d'Or this year. Not even joking. Not even a hot take. I actually said I have proof in a screenshot in a private message 2 or 3 months ago that I did actually say that I think Jude can win the Ballon d'Or just after watching 2 fixtures. So very, very grassy reaction to form, but no, you get what I mean. Phil with NF says, and thank you so much for the donation as well, Phil. Real quick, Fran, went Bruno to Baptiste and Osula to Watkins. 2 free transfers now, and you're now on a 3-4-3. Still have wildcard thoughts. Only worry Saka, to be honest. I guess my question to you is, what is your plan really with the wild card? Like, are you holding it for 14? Are you holding it for 19? What are you sort of waiting out for? Alternatively, I would say the transfers that you've done are very sensible. So yeah, I wouldn't really complain too much. I mean, Bruno to Saka would have also been a very nice move, but considering that you've gone from Osula to Watkins, it's not a problem. And I assume you've got Alvarez too. You've got Udogie, Madison, Colwell, Prowse, and Schär. Which 2 can you transfer out? I'd probably transfer Schär out. I'd probably transfer Udogie out. Yeah, for me, those are players that I would transfer out. I mean, Ward-Prowse. I'd probably transfer him out as well. Sorry, Mr. Dude. I'm gonna have to put you in a timeout. But I do like the -4, if I'm honest. That's actually probably what. Nah, actually, I don't like the -4. Sorry, but I'm still gonna put you in a timeout. Don't do that -4. Those are good picks. Would you take a hit to bring in Watkins for Alvarez? I probably wouldn't, because I think Alvarez is amazing next week. By the way, Nuclear Adams, I know you're a moderator. I mean, do you have any interest in moderating this channel? Just curious. Just an open shout out to you. Saka Dingra / Martinelli Matoma. I'd probably go. Tell you what, I'd probably go Saka Dingra, honestly. It's tough. Very close there. Very close. Very good picks as well in sort of in contention. And yeah, if you guys are new at all, if you guys could like and subscribe, I would absolutely love it. That would make my day. Hope you guys have a wonderful deadline. We've got 1 hour to go effectively to the end of the deadline, and we'll see what happens. Haaland and Mbumo, James Ward-Prowse in, Salah. I don't really love Nunez as a pick. I'm sorry about that. I just have to say that. Thoughts on Lascelles as Maguire replacement? He's short term, but if you think you're gonna play Lascelles a lot, that's fair enough. Nuclear Adams, you're gonna accept that? It's an honor. You've been added as moderator, as a standard moderator. There we go. So congratulations on your promotion. So it's not official that Udogie's bench, guys. Not that I can see, at least. Not that I can see. Pedro or Wilson? Sorry, is that Pedro Neto? Or João Pedro? I would go João Pedro, yeah. I would go João Pedro. Madison and Diaz to Saka and Matoma. Diaz to Saka and downgrade Trippier / Porro. You feel the power, Nuclear Adams? Don't use it to... well, use it wisely. Let's just say that. Can you go with Udogie? I don't really like Udogie this week, guys. I'd probably transfer him out if I'm honest, because there's a risk that he won't start. There's also a risk that, I mean, think about it. If he got subbed off at 59 minutes, don't you think there's a high chance that it could happen again? If for example, he's not very fit. João Pedro or Wilson? João Pedro for me. Sorry. Hi, Fran. Udogie to Tsimikas for -4 or play Guehi or Taylor? I'd probably be. Tough question there. Look, I'd play Guehi reluctantly play him. Ubi 10, 2 free transfers. Look, I'd probably just go out of Matters and someone else. Like, just go out of Matters and Trippier and just go do the moves that I've made. Literally, like you can just go Saka, Gabriel from those 2 players, Madison, Trippier, that is. There's a picture on Twitter with Udogie coming off the bench. I mean, he could just be on the bench though, right, guys? It's not like he lost his foot. Okay, so he's gonna be with the team. He was assessed yesterday, but we have no idea what the assessment was. Like, it might be that he was assessed that he's ready to play. It might be he was assessed that he's ready to hop on the bench and watch the team. So you never know. Do the moves that I've made. I look. If you've been on my stream, and I know you have been on the stream, I never tell people to do the moves that I've made. I always try to look at the team scenario and try to be fair. But honestly, that's the scenario where that's the scenario where I would actually say do the moves I've made. And I apologize if that's offended anyone. All right, you guys do agree with benching Colwell, so a little bit of peace of mind there. A couple people think I should bench Porro. Not a chance. Gordon, not a chance. Can I captain Saka? Of course you can captain. I think Saka is the best captaincy out of Salah, in my opinion. And Mbumo to Saka for a hit? No, I wouldn't do that. Gordon or Dingra? I'd go with Dingra personally. And Boom out? No, not for a hit. And Boom out for Matoma / Diaby? Not too bad. I don't mind those transfers. Is it okay Udogi to Simicast for -4? No, I would just probably go Udogi to Simicast and probably just keep him Mbumo, my friend. Should I keep James Ward-Prowse for this week and go Maddison to Saka? Yeah, I would just go Maddison to Saka. That's a nice upgrade. Because James Ward-Prowse, at the end of the day, it's still an Everton fixture. Adingra, Matoma, and Y. I'd probably go Adingra. Just because you could save some money. Why Salah's captain over Saka? Well, I think Liverpool has a better attack. I think Salah has better underlying stats. I have 100% guarantee that Salah's on penalties compared to Saka, where it's like 60% in my mind. And that's it. I think Saka, what he has going for him is obviously better clean sheet odd chance. And he's playing versus the worst Premier League team in the 23-24 season, Sheffield United. But Nottingham Forest, not very far away from them from a defensive point of view. They just conceded 2 versus Luton Town at home. Not impressive. Not impressed by them either. Adingra or Gordon over Gordon is a bold take. I own Gordon, and I wouldn't mind having Adingra on my team. I love that guy. But I think Gordon's fantastic as well. I'd probably go both of them on a wild card. If I wanted to play like a slightly more robust wild card, there are so many good picks now, like in these sort of budget territories. Like you can play around with all of them. Watkins or Salah captain? I'm going Salah captain. Who to captain? Salah, Watkins, Salah for me. Watkins isn't on pens. See, Gringo Star, he knows his stuff. Hi mate, do you think Raya is safe? I can't guarantee it. I don't know what's in Arteta's head. I think he's safe. I think he's a better keeper, but he has made some mistakes lately. That's fair enough. That's true. We can raise that point, and he might lose it. Fresh haircut. Yeah, I basically told the barber to just take everything off. I appreciate that if that's not sarcasm. Bench Neto or Colwell? Bench Neto. You're reluctant to sell Maddison for Saka. Yeah, I think Maddison is one of the best midfielders. However, one thing I'll say is also, what are the attacking metrics that Maddison's the best at? Some of them are not necessarily relevant to FPL. For example, like shot creation doesn't necessarily mean expected assists, or rather chance creation. Not sarcasm. Thanks. Richarlison, Porro out for Martinelli, the sells for free. I think that's not too bad, actually. That's not too bad. Trippier, Rashford, Foden to Maguire, Salah, Diaby. I mean, if you're going to captain Salah, I think that's fair enough. But those are obviously moves where if it's a -4, I probably wouldn't love it. If it's a -8, I definitely wouldn't do it. Hey, Fran, would you start between these three? Pedro Porro, Dean, Neto. Definitely start. I'd start Dean. Luca Dean. Luca Dean's versus Luton Town at home. Take this opportunity. It's Luton Town. How can I improve on Douglas Luiz and Gordon in the future? I mean, I don't think Gordon's position in the team is really lost, right? I think he's actually in a really good spot from a minutes point of view. Obviously, he's going to get tough fixtures very, very shortly, but you can actually foreseeably keep Gordon for the long term. And, you know, if you think about it, you can always just go back into someone like, I don't know, you can probably go into Palmer when his minutes are better, or rather when his fixtures are better. But in terms of the two of them, it's very hard, right? Because if you lock into those two spots, like if you have Douglas Luiz and Gordon, it's a lot harder. Whereas, for example, you can kind of move around some of the 5.x midfielders. I think it's a lot tougher if you don't, if you own two of them. Richarlison bench, yep, we have sort of confirmed that already on the chat. We don't really know. We don't really know, to be honest, if that's for sure though, because obviously I don't trust any specific Spurs leakers right now. Alvarez or Bruno Guimaraes. Udogi trending on your Twitter. Oh, he's trending as well, but no one knows what's happening to him. He's just come off the bus. Like, I mean, great that he's come off the bus, but it's still a risk, isn't it? Gabriel Simicas. Do you think Son is 1.4 million better than Mads? I think he is. But listen to me on this, right? We still don't really know who's on penalties. It could still be 50-50. And I do think Son has better goal scoring odds than Madison, so that's sort of why I would put him 1.4 million ahead. But the thing is, both of them, in my opinion, are worth their price if you want to ask that question. So the way I see it is, I think Let's Talk FPL, who sort of was on my podcast with a friend of mine. You can check the channel; it's called FPL Script. But he made a very good point where it's like structurally, if you own Son, you can always downgrade. But if you own Madison, you can never really upgrade to Son if you, let's say, choose to spend the money away from him. So that's a tough thing. And Mbumo start or 2 Villa defense. Go double Villa defense. This is the best double Villa defense start you'll ever get outside of Sheffield United at home. So do it. Udogie out for a hit. I mean, look, if you really have a terrible defense, fine, take that hit. I don't really like the hit if it's going to be the case that you actually have a good defense. Udogie out, hit for Gabriel. I mean, look, I would love to go Udogie to Gabriel. That would have been the move that I would have if I owned Udogie. But it is what it is. Gordon or Matoma? I'd go Matoma probably. It's a bit safe. Son is your only way to Saka, then do it. See, that makes sense for you, right? Because one transfer in FPL has a value to it. In fact, a lot of people would argue that the value of a free transfer is probably around 1.5 points. So, yeah. Who would you choose between Darwin or Alvarez for the next 3 games? Alvarez. But for the next 3 games, I mean, Darwin obviously has better next 3 games, but I don't even know if he starts all 3. So I'd probably go Alvarez. It feels safer. Dev says Simicast for Anderson. Yeah, makes sense. Why are you going out of Anderson, though? Why are you going out of Anderson? Had Gabriel already, so no brainer. Yeah, makes sense. 2x free transfer is Madison and Richarlison to Saka and Adingra. Ooh, love those moves. Yeah, I'd back them for sure. Best FPL content creator. I appreciate that, Chris. Whilst you're sitting on your sort of high spot of 1,500 in the world, enjoy that. And hope you keep doing well. Hopefully you can promote the channel when you win FPL. Maguire or Guehi? I'd probably go Guehi. I think it's safer. Maguire could lose his position, but obviously he's been playing well. It really just depends on whether you actually want to take the punt. You turn off ad blocker for me, Fran. Soldier Boy, my man. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you guys turning the ad blocker off for me. Madison to Diaby. I think I don't like it. I think Diaby has a better fixture. I think Diaby will outscore Madison this week, on paper. But is it worth it as a move? No, I don't think so. Unless you can get another upgrade from it, and you're going 2 free transfers, fine. But just 1 free transfer to Diaby, probably not. All right, so if you take Simicast in Gameweek 11, who do I replace? Lamptey. I can afford Lamptey. Out. Diaby over cash. What is that supposed to mean? Are you like choosing players on a wild card? Diaby or Matoma? I'd go Matoma. Best midfielder on wild card? Well, it's Mo Salah. But that's probably a trick question, isn't it? Do you want me to answer someone who's not Salah? Probably Saka then. Hi, Fran. Thanks for everything. Son to Saka. I think it makes sense. And if you're happy with the transfer and you've made peace with leaving Son, it's a good move. Start Udogie or Maguire. Start Udogie. Wait, why would you start Maguire? Start Udogie. I mean, those 2 aren't great picks this week. Let's be honest. Saka and Adingra in for Madison Ward-Prowse. Yeah, definitely I would do that. Son and Gordon to Saka Matoma. I like those moves. Adingra and Saka for Madison and Diaby. Adingra and Saka for Madison Diaby. I'm confused though. Are you going into Saka, you mean? Yeah, I think that makes sense if you're going into Saka. Fran, you can be the second PL game ticket when I win. Chris, my man. All right, sounds good. I hope you win then. I'm looking forward to my ticket. But honestly, best of luck to any of you guys who are super high up in the ranks out there. I'm trying my best, but obviously I'm still pretty far from those sort of ranks like 2,000, 1,000, whatever. Palmer Odingra. I like Odingra more. You're going into Saka. Sorry for bad wording. Yeah, that makes sense. I would approve of that move. Madison and Ward-Prowse out to Saka, who's the best 5.5 and under midfielder. Adingra. Let's go Adingra. Why Adingra over Mitoma? I mean, he's just cheaper, right? He's cheaper. FPL Aguero, nice to see you around. Adam Lynch, quick one. You've got 5.6 million. Saliba versus Gabriel. I think Saliba's the safer pick, but honestly, I would just... The way I see it sometimes is like, I want to save money, right? I want to save that 0.5, so why not save that 0.5? That's my opinion. I would take the risk against the safety of Saliba, right? Because the price really justifies going Gabriel. I would go Gabriel. Fran, Maguire, Son, Adingra. For example, I could have gone Saliba, right? I just chose not to. Because I'd rather take the punt, rather take the opportunity to go from Lamptey to something like Tsimikas next week. You can't do Mitoma, you've Trippier, and you just love him too much. I said goodbye to Trippier, guys. So let's have a look at... Let's thank all the brothers from last week who did well. Tsimikas, goodbye. Richarlison, all right. Saying that he did well last week is a bit debatable, but also goodbye. And yeah, you have to say goodbye to these lovely people. And I can't believe I went... Do you guys remember I went Diaby in the last, 10 seconds of my wild card? Didn't work out, did it? 12 points down right now. 12 points down. Let's pick them back up. But you know what happens. We can... let's move. What about Ferguson? I'd rather go João Pedro. Arch at you 3-3-7-8, and there's just 28 points. 2 Holland holds, you're done. Nah, you're fine. You're fine. That's a crazy rank. Did you bench boost so far, by the way, Archid? Or what have you used? You just started reading my question and got distracted. All right, Yusuf, I apologize about that, my friend. You like to start either Adingra or Palmer each week. Yeah, I would go Adingra in that case. And Maguire would, of course, be the fourth defender. Yeah, of course. You kind of have to go Adingra there. Yeah. You kind of have to go Dinger there. Diaby has been unlucky. Yeah, he's been unlucky. He's been unclinical. And also Watkins, Watkins only scores when, let's say, McGinn's passing to him. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. It is what it is. All right. Are we all settled with our teams, everyone? How are we feeling about the game week so far? Ba, 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 ba. Salah Ahmed, thanks very much for the donation. For a hit, Madison to Saka or Alvarez to Watkins. I prefer Madison to Saka because the way I see it is Madison's next fixture is still Chelsea, which is slightly tougher game, and then next week Alvarez has Bournemouth. So even in the short term, I think the transfer on the left wins out. So appreciate the question, appreciate the donation, and I hope that helps you out. Please help me, Fran. Mudit says you have to move Højlund to free up some money. João Pedro, please. Let's just call it a day. Tomiyasu Hitch hat-trick incoming. I'll think about that, Chris. I'll think about that. Best for this game week: Madison and Gabriel or Saka and Udogie? I think Saka and Udogie is better. I mean, no, I'd say Madison and Gabriel is better because I don't even know if Udogie is gonna play. This is my final team. You're gonna go make your transfers. Good luck to you, Aguero. Zuma to Gabriel -4. I probably wouldn't do it. Zuma still has a good fixture. Wait, Zuma out, by the way. Zuma out. Is he injured? He's not injured, is he? What's wrong with Zuma? You moved too slow and Saka rose again. Took forever to fall and 3 seconds to rise. Yeah, that's life, isn't it? Man U versus City score prediction? I don't know, 1-3. Should I put Richarlison? I think you should bench Richarlison. Richarlison, who says Udogie starts? Not seeing anything about that. Mitoma, should you put Richarlison? You should sell Richarlison. Sell him. Sell him. Neto or Colwill? I would start Colwill. J Pedro or Mbumo bench. Mbumo bench. Udogi starts. Leak on. Who's leaking this on Udogi? Please, I need confirmations. 17 minutes, guys. It's picking up. It's picking up, my friends. What are we saying here? Mbumo or Udogi? Mbumo. Got rid of Udogi. Makes sense. Mbumo or Colwill? Colwill. Ah, it's close. Probably Mbumo still. Why do everyone make the switches in last minutes? Need this info. Yeah, I can't see who's confirming that Udogi's out or starting. I can't see any news. Do you think Watkins will get benched? Is this a joke? No, I don't think he'll get benched. Whom do you bring in to replace Richarlison? Mitoma or Diaby? Adingra or Palmer? I think Adingra is just better because, like, I rather have a player who plays every single week, and I rather go with Adingra. That's my personal opinion. You got James Ward-Prowse, couldn't afford Bowen. Thoughts on what to do? There's no news yet on Udogi. Exactly. I wouldn't say stop lying, but I think just stop getting baited by other people's tweets. Thoughts on what to do with him? James Ward-Prowse, I mean, you kind of have to downgrade. You might have to go with Dingra, but at the same time, he's got an Everton fixture, so why not just play James Ward-Prowse this week and then sell him next week? You're out. Take care, Gringo. Appreciate that. And yeah, if any of you guys are here, you're new, live and direct, just please sub, drop a like, and enjoy your wildcard transfers, or enjoy your regular transfers, whatever they are. What we think of Maguire at 4.2 million? Yeah, he's a good pick if he starts, right? But the thing is, what's stopping Lindelof from magically starting a fixture or two? I do like Maguire as a punt on the wild card. I won't lie about that. I probably would have considered it. I probably would have him, let's say, for example, the spot in my team where Lamptey is, I'd probably actually have gone for my man Maguire on the draft. But it is what it is. Højlund to Alvarez. Probably not this week. I would probably go for it next week. Just save the transfer, I would say. Because the thing is, Alvarez, I think he has a little bit of a doubt, right? Because he might be struggling with fitness a bit. Cheers, mate. Good luck to you as well, Jones. Eddie and Kedia or Darwin. Probably Darwin. Bench 1, Tsimikas, Trippier, Gabriel, Cash, Tsimikas. The only way for me to afford an Arsenal defender in Gabriel is to move early tonight. Should I do it? Well, are you going to play him? Are you going to play him? I mean, get him today. Get him today for Gameweek 10, please. He's got one of his best fixtures. You can't go him next week. You bought Trippier at 6.7, but when I tried to say it sells my bank 6.7 instead of 6.8 million. Probably means... I have no idea why that is. That's not correct. It just shouldn't happen like that. Mitoma and Bowen in for Maddison Ward-Prowse, but don't have Saka. I don't really like those transfers. I'd rather just keep Maddison and Ward-Prowse. Like, for example, it's not like Mitoma and Bowen have insane fixtures, right? Like Fulham is a good fixture. That's very good. I have to admit that. But you know, Ward-Prowse has the same fixture as Bowen, and then actually Maddison is still a very, very, very good pick on any week, really. And it's not like he's facing, I don't know, he's not facing City at home, for example. So would you rather have to start Adingra or Palmer while owning Son? Yeah, I'd definitely start Adingra because you can't start Palmer like most of these fixtures. Starting Fernandez or Tsimikas. Tsimikas. Tough. Probably Tsimikas. Hi, Fran. Hi, Federico. How are you doing? Can you profit from price rises? Of course you can. Every 2 price rises a player you buy gets, you get to profit 0.1 back basically when you sell. So let's say I own Pedro Porro at 5.0. He rises to 5.2. I can sell him at 5.1. However, if he rises to 5.1, he still is 5.0 for me. So you need those 2 price rises back to back to be able to sell. Adingra, Diaby, Mubama, or Adingra, Gordon, João Pedro. I kind of like the João Pedro variation, to be honest. I think that's a lot cooler. Let's try to spam less in the chat, guys. So many of you guys in the chat. Really appreciate you guys being around. Even if Udogi starts, he's likely to be subbed off again. I think so, yeah, because he's managing fitness, right? Start Burn or Udogi. Probably Burn, to be honest. For Maguire, he's been on form. I know he's been excellent, so nothing wrong with keeping him. Yeah, Maguire and Saka makes sense, but are you going to play Maguire this week or are you just going to bench him? You don't have enough money to go Saka for Madison. Should I go Bowen to Madison or just save the transfer? What do you mean by Bowen to Madison? Oh, you mean, oh, I don't know. I'll just keep Madison. Just keep Madison. Just keep Madison. We have no news on you, doggy, by the way. Just to confirm. Just to confirm. Who's saying he's benched, though? I haven't confirmed that. Or haven't been able to at least confirm that. Saka, good captaincy or too risky? I don't think it's risky at all. I think it's a great captaincy, but I just think Salah has a better captaincy. Do you prefer Son and Adingra? I've been refreshing Twitter. I haven't seen any Udoggy news at all, by the way, guys. Seriously, no leaks. I've just seen Brennan Johnson leak. That's it. Love your channel. Thank you so much, Shamir. Take care. We'll keep up the grind for sure. You met Maguire and your team is benched. Yeah, that's the perfect situation for you, Lucas, of course. What would you do with Dan Burn? Play him or bench him? I mean, it depends how strong your defense is this week. I'd probably keep him. What's wrong with Dan Burn? Is he injured? Is your bench good? Need any change? My bench is lovely. Please don't attack my bench. I know my bench is good. Doesn't need any change. Udoggy news. There's no Udoggy news, unfortunately. We have 11 minutes to go, and we'll find out. But so far, we don't know. Kulishevsky for this week. I mean, a 3. I mean, I think Kulishevsky's the worst attack. I think he's worse than Richarlison as an attacking punt, just because he's more expensive as well. 1 week punt Madison to Martinelli. Yeah, I love that move. That's a great 1 week punt. Watkins, Son, Saka, or Haaland? Who to captain? Saka for me. And would you recommend taking a hit so you can get Saka in? I probably wouldn't take a hit to get Saka in. Is it worth starting Udoggy if you're worried heat? I mean, the thing is, he could come off the bench, I suppose. Odd chance. But, you know, it just depends on if you have a good fourth attacker. Like, I would always... Fourth defender, sorry. So if you've got someone good to come off the bench, then play him over Udoggy. I think Udoggy is a bit of a risk. Why Gordon Diaby? So many options. What do you mean? I mean, this is not my wild card. I wildcarded 2 weeks ago. You did -4 Madison and Alvarez out from... Like, 2 weeks ago, Palmer didn't take his second penalty. Or didn't even take his first penalty, by the way, because he's got back-to-back penalties, and I wildcarded in Gameweek 8. And at the time, Adingra, you know, still had to compete with minutes with March. So much of the landscape has changed. Madison to Saka for free. That's a wonderful move. Go for it. Start Zinchenko or Porro. I'd probably start Porro because I think Zinchenko, he might get benched. And who knows, he could even come off the bench, which would be a problem. I don't know. It's actually tough. Maybe you'd start Zinchenko if you have a feeling that he'll start, but I can't confirm that right now. Can you suggest a bench defender for 4.7 million on a wild card? I mean, I'm assuming you've got Gabriel and Tsimikas. In that situation, probably Guehi or Maguire, one of those two. Start Udoggy or Lascelles or take -4 for Tsimikas. I would just start Lascelles. Just start Lascelles. Start Lascelles. Watkins or Martinelli vice captain? Watkins for sure. Gordon or Madison? Is that a question? Just go Madison. How long is Robbo out for? Around 3 months. Kind of weird, but would you put Archer or Udoggy first on the bench? I don't know. I'd probably start Udoggy, honestly, because Archer's horrific. Future transfer plans. Yeah, sure. I mean, if I can afford to, I'd go Tsimikas next week, and then I would just play Tsimikas. And then probably eventually I would go back to Mbumo from Diaby. Are basically my rough plans. I don't have anything crazy planned because obviously Saka long-term hold, Gordon long-term hold, Son long-term hold, Watkins long-term hold, Haaland long-term hold, Salah long-term hold. Cash could be a future transfer. Pedro Porro could be a future transfer. So Pedro Porro could be Estupiñán. If Estupiñán is back for, let's say, this fixture here, if he's back for Game Week 12, versus Sheffield United at home, then I would go for it. Those are my plans in the future. You follow most of your advices, Vin. Thank you so much. All the best for you as well. And all the best for all the people who've been very kind. James as well, thank you. You bet Angie's going to release news on Udoggy right... Or Ange is going to release news on Udoggy right after... I mean, well, he's going to release news by releasing his squad, isn't he? So That's the news we're gonna get. Start Udog or Mbumo. I would go Mbumo. Bench Mbumo or Palmer. Bench Mbumo, obviously. I'd play Palmer over Mbumo easily. You can definitely sell Mbumo if you're worried about the price drop. I think moving to Mitoma makes sense. If you had Alvarez, my plans would be to keep him if I had Alvarez. What do you think of triple up in front in Haaland, Darwin, and Watkins with Saka, Salah, Son, and Diaby in midfield? Monstrous team. I mean, it's a nice team. Can't complain. Start or bench Colwill. I'd probably start him. It depends who are you to bench. Did I catch the Saka price rise? Yes, I had to because I kind of want to go for Tsimikas next week. Oh man, Tsimikas is gonna rise. What am I gonna do about that? I'm gonna have to pray Maguire plays next week. Who does Guehi have next week? I mean, I don't really mind playing Guehi next week. I could go into Guehi. Why not? Can't go Tsimikas. It's just not the right move. I just can't do it. Oh well. It is what it is. I can't go Tsimikas anymore. I mean, unless I take a hit to bench him. Ooh, do the transfer right after the deadline. Yeah, but he's got midweek fixtures as well. It's not worth the risk because I haven't even seen Liverpool play. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's just not right. It's not right. Fine. All right, so let's see. You've got no cover for Udogi. Should I take a -4? Yep, I would do it. Take a -4. Take a -4 if you don't have cover for him because I think it is worth it. I would actually generally agree with that. Since Tsimikas is rising, then should I get rid of Udogi? Yeah, you could do that. Udogi for Tsimikas makes sense. Saka or Watkins, vice captain. I mean, I've gone Saka, vice captain. Play Palmer or Dingra. I'd play both if possible, but I'd probably play Palmer ahead of him. Take a -4. I'm not taking a -4 for Tsimikas, though. Can't do that, my friend. Play a Dingra or Burn. Definitely a Dingra. And Nketiah or João Pedro. João Pedro for me. Sell Son, Madison, Diaby, Bone for Saka. Sure. I don't really like Bone that much, though, if I'm honest. You should have gone for Tsimikas this week instead of Gabriel. Yeah, but Gabriel's going to rise tonight as well, so it's the same logic. Like, I would lose Gabriel in the future, you know, if I wanted to transfer that sort of direction. But I know what you're going to say, because basically Tsimikas, I would have been able to play him next week. But I don't really know. Like, I mean, who knows? They could play Chambers left back, you know, in the next game, and that would ruin Tsimikas. So I just have more faith in Gabriel as a transfer in general. So yeah. And also, I just think, yeah, Gabriel has a better fixture, and you just gotta have to, you kind of have to play what's in front of you, right? Sometimes. And yeah, obviously Tsimikas has good attacking potential for sure, but Gabriel's also, you know, one of those sort of lethal. I mean, if you want to say Tsimikas takes corners, Gabriel's one of the threats on the opposite end of a corner. Tsimikas possibly sharing minutes. Exactly. Yeah, it's a bit of a risk to go Tsimikas, so I won't take it. What team do I support? Real Madrid. So unfortunately, or rather fortunately, I am unbiased in the Premier League. Bench one, Gordon, João Pedro, or Dingra. Probably bench Gordon, my friend, because I think Fulham at home, just a better fixture. Chamber on the left, please. Okay. I mean, he's still playing in Europe, so he's not a complete joke, if you want to put it that way. Udogi or Shar. I'd play Shar ahead of him. I just think I would play people ahead of Udogi if they're good. If you don't have anyone good, I don't mind really taking a hit for him. What's my prediction? As I said, I don't have a prediction. I just want us to win, and I don't want to predict anything. I just want to see us win. Is Guehi going to rise? I don't think he's gonna rise. Doesn't seem like it. Nope, he's not close to rising. I think Tsimikas is a lot of wildcard transfers as well, personally, so I'm hoping that he doesn't rise tonight. Forgot about Chambers. You forgot about Chambers. Yeah, I mean, look, he played in Europe. Like, he could get minutes. Who knows? Like, it doesn't take a few bad games for Tsimikas to... It's not like Tsimikas has the spot locked down. If you got the funds and want Udogi out, yeah, I agree. Just go Gabriel. Fernandes to Saka. I think that's a lovely move. I'll definitely do it. How do you check players are close to a rise? I use a website. I mean, I've got Fantasy Football Hub, right? So Fantasy Football Hub, and then I can check price changes here. So Simicast is pretty close to a rise. Gabriel is very close to a rise. But you see Simicast is projected to rise tonight, which is obviously a huge problem for me. So this is the situation. The situation as it stands. You can check Fantasy Football Hub on my link in the description. It is an affiliate link, though, obviously. Gabriel scoring a set piece. I mean, it could happen. Could happen. Yeah, beauty. Thanks. Would João Pedro start? Or I mean, they could both start. What's stopping that? What's the logic behind price rises? I think non-wildcard transfers and the sort of previous percentage ownership, but they've never disclosed the algorithm, so we only have a rough guess, and people have sort of built models guessing it, sort of, reverse engineering it. But I don't think people actually know exactly what drives price rises and falls, and sometimes we have very, very outrageous sort of price rises that happen and price falls that happen that we can't account for. Play Udogi or Hwang? I'd probably play Hwang. How's Haaland to Alvarez and Anderson to Saka? I think those are nice moves. Would I do it? Maybe not. Deadline about to be over. Exactly. Lock in your moves, guys. Lock in your moves. Oh my. Wait, is the deadline? Is it not 29? Did the deadline... What? What? I swear it's just turned 30. Did the deadline... All right, fine, whatever. I mean, it's 6:30 now. The deadline is now, that's correct. But my clock is either delayed by a few seconds or I've gone crazy. You ended up benching Udogi, sold Botman for Gabriel, saving the wild card for another day. Fair enough. I mean, look, I probably wouldn't plan a wild card over 15 minutes, so take some time to think about your wild card. All right, so that is that in terms of this week. Greetings, Savage, as well. Hope you guys are doing well. You have Salah still gone with Watkins captain. Thank you, James, as well, for being around. Sold Bone instead of Madison for Adingra because they played today. Fair enough. Well, I think that's it for the stream. Thank you guys so much for being around. As I said, really appreciate the support. If you guys can like and subscribe, that would be lovely. And obviously, I'll do a review stream as soon as possible. I hope the update goes through. I mean, obviously, it's tough because obviously I don't know whether Udogi will start, but it is what it is. Darwin captains in the chat. Interesting. I think someone else said they would do it, but you seem like you've actually gone through the sort of major punt there. Talk to you later as well, Kataro. Thank you guys as well. Thank you, Orbit, Asarj, all of you guys. Take care. I will see you guys around. I'm probably going to shut the stream early. Unfortunately, I'm still feeling a little bit sick. I'll hopefully try to recover ahead of the review stream, and we'll see how it goes. I think my team is strong as some vulgar word, but I really hope that we'll do well, and hopefully we can keep the green arrows going. I've seen a lot of wildcard drafts, apart from, let's say, Adingra, apart from some of the other picks like Palmer. I don't think my wildcard draft is too different from a Game Week 10 wildcard, so I'm pretty excited. Tomorrow watch along. We definitely could do it. I'll think about it. I'll have to just see whether my throat's in shape. But yeah, thank you guys once again so much, and I'll see you guys next time.